I'm going to read several texts that describe how the people of God are treated, and I want you to carefully consider whether this is your descriptor or whether you are one of those who mistreat the people of God but wear the title. First text, Song of Solomon. Song of Solomon is God's love letter to his people. Here, the person who is the bride is speaking. Song of Solomon 1, beginning in verse 5. Daughters of Jerusalem, I am dark like the tents of Kedar, yet lovely like the curtains of Solomon. Do not stare at me because I am dark, for the sun has gazed on me. Listen to this. My mother's sons were angry with me. They made me take care of the vineyards. I have not taken care of my own vineyard. Then she says to her lord Solomon, messianic figure in this case, tell me, you whom I love, where do you pasture your sheep? Where do you let them rest at noon? Why should I be like one who veils herself beside the flocks of your companions? Just the thing I want to bring out of that particular passage is listen to how her brothers are treating her. My mother's sons were angry with me. They made me take care of the vineyards. I have not taken care of my own vineyard. As a result, she's ugly by the reckoning of beauty of the time. To be tanned in that time was to be ugly. She says, do not stare at me because I'm dark, for the sun has gazed on me. 1 Samuel 16:3. This is the calling of David. But Yahweh said to Samuel, do not look at his appearance or his stature, because I have rejected him. Humans do not see what Yahweh sees, for humans see what is visible, but Yahweh sees the heart. Take note. Jesse called Amminadab and presented him to Samuel. Yahweh hasn't chosen this one either, Samuel said. Then Jesse presented Shemaiah, but Samuel said, Yahweh hasn't chosen this one either. After Jesse presented 7 of his sons to him, Samuel said to Jesse, the Lord hasn't chosen any of these. Samuel asked him, are these all the sons you have? There is still the youngest. He answered, but right now he is tending the sheep. Samuel said to Jesse, send for him. We won't sit down to eat until he gets here. So Jesse sent for him, and he had beautiful eyes and a healthy, handsome appearance. Then Yahweh said, anoint him, for he is the one. So Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the presence of his brothers. And the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully on David from that day forward. Then Samuel set out and went to Ramah. Third passage is 1 Samuel 17, beginning in verse 26. David spoke to the men who were standing with him. What will be done for the man who kills that Philistine and removes this disgrace from Israel? Just who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? The troops told him about the offer, concluding, this is what will be done for the man who kills him. David's oldest brother Eliab listened to him as he spoke to the men, and he became angry with him. Why did you come down here? He asked. Who did you leave those few sheep with in the wilderness? I know your arrogance and your evil heart. You came down to see the battle. This is David's response. What have I done now? Protested David. It was just a question. Then he turned from those beside him to others in front of him, and he asked about the offer. The people gave him the same answer as before. What David said was overheard and reported to Saul, so he had David brought to him. David said to Saul, do not let anyone be discouraged by him. Your servant will go and fight this Philistine. Just the only thing I want to bring out of this passage is look at how David's brothers treat him. David's older brother Eliab listened, and he became angry. It's no point. Claims that David is speaking out of evil. David is speaking out of the unction and power of the Spirit. Next passage, Luke 6:20. He says, this is Jesus. Blessed are you who are poor, because the kingdom of God is yours. Please note, if you have a great career, if you have a lot of education, and you aren't poor, just note, in this particular passage, this claim of Luke, this isn't a spiritual thing. Jesus literally means, blessed are you who are poor. So, blessed are you who are poor, for the kingdom of God is yours. Blessed are you who are hungry now, because you will be filled. Blessed are you who weep now, because you will laugh. Now listen to verse 22. Blessed are you when people hate you, when they exclude you, insult you, and slander your name as evil because of the Son of Man. Rejoice in that day and leap for joy. Take note, your reward is great in heaven, for this is the way their ancestors used to treat the prophets. He says, woe to you who are rich, for you have received your comfort. Woe to you who are now full, for you will be hungry. Woe to you who are now laughing, for you will mourn and weep. Woe to you when all people speak well of you, for this is the way their ancestors used to treat the false prophets. All right, next passage, Matthew 10, beginning in verse 16, or beginning in verse... Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Verse 35 of Matthew 10, for I came to turn a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a man's enemies will be the members of his own household. So, verse 34, don't assume I came to bring peace on the earth. I didn't come to bring peace, but a sword. What is he getting at? He's saying, look, all the earthly blessings, they're good if God is in them, but at a certain point, people who are claiming to be Christian, God's going to drive that sword between the true and the false. You just got to choose who you're going to serve there. So, I'm trying to get at something here. If your experience of being a Christian has been the warm embrace of people to the right and left of you, if God is in that, then wonderful. But the text there says, woe, if all people speak well of you. And by the way, that's not talking about searching for lawless people, enraging them, and getting their ire that way, by the way. It's talking about simply being what God has called you to be, and by mere fact of that, you are rejected. If your experience of the Christian life has been, oh man, I got so many friends. Oh man, I got a seminary degree and everybody loves me. Oh man, everybody looks up to me and just loves everything I do. Beware. That's how people treat false prophets. That's how people treat the fake. And Jesus is warning, and these other passages show the general way that the genuine people of God are treated is to be rejected, mistreated for no reason other than they're true. So consider very carefully whether the blessings that you consider blessings are actually curses. I do mean consider, because I know that God can make them blessings, but just be very careful and understand that in a dark time, having people speak well of you is probably not a good thing.